Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago. Why do we look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago? Well, we do that so that we can understand what factors made them hot then and what factors are affecting them now, so we all make better decisions when we're looking at the hot books of the moment, to know what we should be patient on, what we should chase, so we deal with our FOMO a little bit better, hopefully. So, this week, we're looking back at the hot comics from October 16th, 2020, and I'm recording this on April 16th, 2021. As always, we're looking back at the CBSI Hot Top 10 and the Comic Tom Key Collector Hottest Trending Comics of the Week. This week, we got 19 books to go through. A lot of covers. This was New York Comic-Con week. Even though New York Comic-Con wasn't in person, there were still a lot of covers and that they put out as con exclusives, so several of them made the list. So without further ado, let's look at these books, see what we can learn so that we're, hopefully making better decisions. Obviously, the comic market has been changing recently. This year, it's gone fire. But how does it affect these books that hit the list that aren't necessarily mounts or keys, but are hot for other reasons? So let's see what's going on. First up, we have Invincible #1 from 2003. This hit the list because information was coming out related to the Amazon Prime animated series. That series is now actively coming out. We're in the middle of it right now. Back then, the book hit $500 for raw copies. 9.8s were going for $1,900, and that book has went up. The series has come out to pretty good acclaim. Raw copies now are $700 to $1,000. 9.8. The only 9.8 sale on eBay since the show started went for $3,700. Now, before that, it had went up anyway. In the run-up to the show, it was going $2,250 to $2,500. But like I said, there's only been one sale since the show started, so that's the price that I'm going with here, or including that $3,700 sale. So yeah, Invincible gotten pretty good reviews. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to actually start reading the series. So I'm going to wait a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to actually reading that series and watching that show. Next, we have Herogasm #1, the first appearance of Soldier Boy. And this is everything to do with Jensen Ackles being cast. And that this character is coming to season 3 of The Boys. Is why this hit the list. Back then, raw copies were going for $45 to $70. Now they're still going $40 to $70. 9.8s are going $400 to $450, which, if you can find a raw, really nice copy for around $70, that's a pretty good return investment right there. So far it's been very steady in its prices. Definitely worth it to invest in. And with that big a difference between raw prices and 9.8s, might be worth trying to take a shot and see if you can turn one into a 9.8. Next, we have Mad Max Fury Road, Furiosa #1. And this is hitting the list based on the information that there's going to be a prequel Furiosa movie. They'd actually cast Anya Taylor-Joy to play the younger Furiosa. So you might know her from Queen's Gambit. She played Magic in the New Mutants movie. Back then, raw copies were going for $20. 9.8s were going for $90. Raw copies now are $5 to $10 as my computer goes to sleep. And 9.8s are going for $35 to $125. So really wide range on those. Most of them have been still in that $80-90 range. But there's been cheaper ones and there's been ones that are a little more expensive. They're kind of all over the place. But the raw sales are definitely down, and that is the majority of the sales. So maybe a book to get in right now. See if you can find it. My guess is you could probably find it in dollar bins and back issue bins for sure. Next we have Ecto Kid #1, and this was based on a rumor that this Clive Barker product was in development for a potential show. So there were rumors out there. Raw copies jumped up to $10 to $35. Now they're $1 to $5. But there's only been, so way down on raw copies, which is the vast majority of sales. There's only been 2 9.8 sales though, and they went for $200 each. That doesn't make any sense to me. They appear to be legit sales. It's not the same book. It's different books, different seller. But yeah, why would you pay? You could buy a lot of copies to try to get that 9.8 before you would have to spend $200 on one. So that's a little odd, but overall, this book definitely, and even when they were talking about it, they talked about the fact that it probably wasn't actually going to get made, but we'll see. Next, we have our one kind of hot indie of the week, and that is We Live #1. And this is the Dustin Nguyen 1 in 15 variant. I'm a big fan of Dustin from his work on Descender. So I really enjoy this cover. This 1 in 15 was going for $35 to $40 at release. Now it's 30 to 50, with 9.8 going to 180 to 120. So this has been worth it so far. It's been very steady. So I know this We Live series has gotten some pretty good reviews. I have not checked it out yet. It's definitely one that's on my list to check out. So, with that, we're going to be moving. I said there was a bunch of covers, and their next 2, 4, 6 books are all covers. A good chunk of them are NYCC variants. First up, we have Amazing Spider-Man, The Sins of Norman Osborn, #1, the John Tyler Christopher NYCC negative space variant of Spider-Man, which was limited to 2,500 copies. Back then at release, it was going for $125 plus. I didn't mention this. I did not do a cash or trash this week, so I don't have any predictions on these books. I would have predicted this book would have kept going, given the way most of these negative space variants have reacted on the market. But this one has not. It's dropped back to a $70 to $90 book. 9.8 are only going for $250 to $300. Still really good value on an initial like $25 buy-in, I think. But yeah, just not as good as most of these negative space variants have done. The cat is saying hello, everyone. So next we have The Boys, Dear Becky, #1. The Raphael Grazzetti variant, limited to 300. This really cool Homelander cover. 9.8 of it was going for $500 to $650. There's only been 2 recent sales. Like I said, there's only 300 of these. One sale for a raw copy went for $250. One 9.8 sale went for $450. There is a much cheaper version with just a white background, just the image of him in a white background, that you can get for like $15. But this one is definitely down. It's down, but there's on very few sales, and not very many of them are out there in for sale, so it's going to be kind of hard to come by. It's going to probably become a bit of a ghost, so I'm not sure if you can really say what the price is on this sucker. I think if you really want it, it may be one of those you just kind of have to pay to get it, depending on what it's going for. So, cool cover. Not my cup of tea, but a cool cover. So, next we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man #13, the Raza variant. And this was hitting the list for a couple of reasons. One, this suit, there was information that this suit was going to be part added to the Miles PS5 game. And it's also a variant of the first appearance of Miles' sister. I think it's Billy, I think is her name. I forget now. Raw copies back then were going for $60. It's still going 50 to 70 for a raw copy. Another steady book this week, which is, yeah, we've already had 3 steady books, and we got a couple more actually. So yeah, another week, very steady prices this week. But 9.8s are going for $200 to $250. So everything Miles has been hot over the last year. There was a little lull in December that has not lasted. Ultimate Fallout 4, all of his books have kind of taken off again. The cover's less so, but definitely there hasn't been much of a cooling on Miles at all. If anything, he's still radioactive. So next we have Batman, The Three Jokers, #1, the second print 1 in 25 sketch variant. You guys know I hate these ratios on second prints. I think it's just a cash grab, but people seem to love them. People seem to want them. This one's going for $50+ back then at release. It's still going 25 to 60. So you could argue that it's down a little bit. It's definitely an I'll be back kind of book. 9.8 can actually be, there was an actual 9.8 sale for 35, but most of them are going for the 100 to 135 range. But I put in the full range, so another one with a wide range on 9.8 sales. But I don't know. I didn't really like this series. Some people really did. So, but not a book I would chase just because I didn't really care for the series that much. But people definitely want this 1 in 25 second print still. Next, we have The Walking Dead Deluxe #1, the 1 per store gold foil variant. Back then, Raws were going for 50 to 75. Now it's going 30 to 50, so this one's down a little bit. Walking Dead tends to be pretty popular. These foil variants have been very popular for several of these books over the last year. 9.8s are $110 to $140. So there's still definitely a market for Walking Dead, even though the series has ended and it sounds like the television show is getting close to wrapping up. There's still a lot of people that love this series and are going after these books. Next, we got The Last Ronin #1, the NYCC Kevin Eastman variant, limited to 1,400 copies. This really cool Eastman cover, I really like this cover, was going for $65 to $80 at release following the virtual version of the con. Raw copies now are 100 to 150. 9.8s are going for 200 to 300. So shockingly, a Turtles book is up in value. If you've been following over the last year, like many things, it's like Miles and a lot of other things. Turtles have been super hot this last year, and it has continued here in 2021. So that's our last cover this week. Next up, we have one comic buzz, and this is Buzzkill #1. And this hit the list because somebody asked Cates online if he was ever going to bring it back, and he said, "Well, it might. Check out Crossover; it's coming up or whatever." So he hinted that he might bring this character back. I haven't been reading Crossover, so maybe he is, maybe he's not. But that causes, just Kate's talking about it, caused it to jump to a $25 to $45 book. Still going 15 to 40. I don't know that there's any kind of option or anything like that, but it's still going 15 to 40 for raw copies. 9.8 though only went for 55. Not that there's been many. I think that was the only sale, but it did go for 55. So this is another one that's been pretty steady. Down a little bit maybe, but mostly steady. Next, we're going to move into some HBO Max news. We got Justice League #50. This is the first appearance of Jessica Cruz as the Green Lantern, as well as also the first 3 Jokers that this book had been on. We talked about a few weeks ago because it was the first appearance of the 3 Jokers. But this is because of Jessica Cruz, and that because of some announcements related to that upcoming Green Lantern show on HBO Max. That Jessica Cruz was going to be one of the characters featured. So people started jumping on this book. Raw copies were going for $30 to $40. 9.8 jumped up to $240. This one has fallen back a little bit. It's now a $10 to $30 book. 9.8s are down $80 to $150. Seems a little low to me for her first appearance as a Green Lantern, especially if she's coming to the show. This might be another book that would be the right time to maybe see if you can find one for a good deal and invest in to spec on later, because we know she's coming. We know the show's coming. So just my thoughts. The next book is also related to Jessica Cruz. This is Justice League #31, her first full appearance. This is the combo pack variant, which is pretty hard to get, and a lot less copies than the regular variant, or the regular cover. Back then, raw copies of this were going to $200 to $300. 9.8 hit at $850. Still, raw copies, which are the vast majority of the sales, are still in that $200 to $300. Not that there's a ton of sales anyway. There's only 5, so I say vast majority. I think there's like 4 of the sales were raw. One was a 9.8. It went for $1,000. So I would say this is another one that's been pretty steady. It's been worth it so far to invest in. So we'll see. It seems like 31 of the books, not just this variant, but the regular variant, is the one that people are most after for Jessica Cruz. But her first appearance, it's kind of spread out over a bunch of books. You get a flash of her hand in Green Lantern 20. Then you get in 30, you get an image of her, but you don't get all the information. And then in 31, she has her first full appearance. Then in 50 is when she actually becomes the Green Lantern. So yeah, she's got one of those first appearances spread out over a bunch of books. But 31 is also her first cover. So next, we have another Green Lantern related book, and that's Green Lantern #59, first appearance of Guy Gardner, another of the characters that was confirmed for the HBO Max series. Now, this one's a little weird. I rewatched it just to make sure I wrote down my notes correctly. Tom and them were claiming that average sales were $950 And that usually means they're talking about raw copies. The average sale was $950 for this book. Seems insane. Like, I went and looked, raw copies, even super high grade ones, are $80 to $250. Like, $200 for a raw copy is a really high price. I find it hard to believe this book has crashed that much in the last 6 months. I question the $950 they typed in and said, but I'll be honest, because I didn't do a cash or trash that week, I didn't go and look at prices from that week, and obviously those are all gone off of eBay at this point. But anyway, it's an $80 to $250 book raw right now. An 8.0 will only cost you $500, a little over $500. So a good book, but based on the prices they said, it's way, way down. But still a good book and a good character we know is coming to that show. Next we have more DC related stuff, this time the movies, and this is 52 week 12, first appearance of the second Aces, and this is hitting the list because an actress was cast to be in the Black Adam movie to play this role, so raw copies jumped up to 10 to 25, a 2,000% increase in sales. Now it's a $5 to $15 book. 9.8s are 100 to 150. So another one's down. Another one's I'll be back. We still got a ways before the Black Adam movie comes out. So a book that maybe you could probably still find potentially in back issue bins. With that, we have 3 books left. 2 MCU related books and 1 Star Wars related book. First up, we have all new, all different Avengers number 9. First appearance of Nadia Pym. This is the Alex Ross 1 in 50 design variant. Back then it hit $100. And that was because there were rumors that Nadia is going to be coming to the MCU potentially as part of like all of the new Avengers. Raw copies now are down to 50 to 80. 9.8's going for 120 to 150. So this one's down a little bit. Don't quite understand this particular spec. I feel like Hope kind of already feels this character is kind of the same character in a lot of ways. Kind of the daughter of Hank and Wasp. And then we already also, if you want to go with like a younger version from those group of characters, you also already have Cassie Lang that's clear they're going to use. So I'm not sure where Nadia would fit in, but that was what people were specking on, and they're still specking on it at least a little bit. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 250 or 238, the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. This book jumped up because Jacob Batalon, the actor that plays Ned Leeds in the Spider-Man movies, was showing off pictures that he'd gotten in shape while they were working on filming and stuff for the new Spider-Man movie. Or getting ready for filming for the new Spider-Man movie. And people started specking that he's going to make an appearance as the Hobgoblin. And that seems like a lot to me, but it caused this book, raw copies, this was already a big book anyway, but it caused raw copies to jump up to 380. 9.6s were going for 650. This book has continued to climb, just part of everything Spider-Man's been climbing here in the last few months. It's 300 to 600 now for a raw copy, with the tattoos. 9.6, it cost you $1,200 to $1,500. So this book is straight cash anyway. It's a great character. I'm not sure we're going to see at least in this next movie. I very doubt with all the Spider-Verse stuff that we're going to see a Ned Leeds Hobgoblin. I mean, I guess maybe we could see an alternate universe Ned Leeds Hobgoblin. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I would be surprised if with all the characters they're talking about bringing into this thing that's where they go. We'll see. And our last book of the week is Darth Vader number 6. This is the first appearance of a Sith assassin, which apparently I can't speak or I can't say. Raw copies for this, we're going for $10 to $15 right out the gate. Still a $10 to $20 book. 9.8 to cost you 80 to 90. So this one's been pretty steady as well, which has kind of been the theme this week. We had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of our 19 books were pretty steady in their prices. That's pretty unusual. But some good books definitely in here. And the market is also moving very rapidly right now. But we still also had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books that have dropped in value and would have been worth being patient on. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.